Hey, what's going on YouTube? So today I'm going to showcase an Oakensoul heavy attack build for the hybrid Magicka Templar, updated for the Scribes of Fate DLC patch. This build parses 90k on the trial dummy and is optimized for group content. Because this is a hybrid build and we are in medium armor, penetration can become an issue. Furthermore, this is not a solo build, but with a skill change or two, it should be fine for overland content as well. So for Scribes of Fate, there was a few changes to heavy attack Oakensoul builds. The first one being that elemental susceptibility got nerfed a little bit, changing the duration for each status effect to occur from 6 to 7.5 seconds. And another change that happened was Oakensoul will not be viable anymore in Cloud Rest because the Voltaic Overload, or bar swap mechanic as we know it, will now affect Oakensoul users. Nonetheless, Oakensoul heavy attack builds are still viable for almost all content and still very effective. So with that being said, here we go. So as per usual, starting off in the character sheet, I have 64 points in a Magicka, and I'm running the Thief Mundus. For the race, we're a High Elf because High Elves have some of the best passives for Magicka DPS. For the food, you have two options. First is going to be running blue Bystat food, so something like Solitude Salmon Millet Soup, which increases our health and mag. Or we can opt to run Tristat food for a little bit extra stamina as well. For the potions, you don't really need potions because Sustain is really good on a heavy attack build. You can opt to run something like a Tristat potion as a way to get either mag, stam, or even as a pseudo heal. For CP, for the blue tree, we're going to be running Exploiter, Master at Arms, Weapons Expert, and Deadly Aim. For the red tree, Balanced Vitality, Fortified, Rejuvenation, and Celerity. So for the gear, we're going to be running the standard Sergeant's Mail paired with Stormmaster, One Piece Slime Crawl, and Oakensoul setup. So for the main hand, we have a Precise Lightning Staff of the Sergeant with a shock damage enchant. For the head slot, we have a light slime crawl in Divines with a max mag enchant. For one piece of the body, and preferably the chest, we have one piece of Sergeant's Mail. This is in Divines with a max mag enchant. For 5 pieces of the body, we have Stormmaster, all traded in Divines with max mag enchants. For the jewelry, we have 2 pieces of Sergeant's Mail jewelry, both traded in Bloodthirsty with a weapon and spell damage enchant. And lastly, for the Oakensoul ring, this is also Bloodthirsty with a weapon and spell damage enchant. So just very quickly, for the skills, we're running Purifying Light. This does a little bit of damage off the bat, and then after 6 seconds, it explodes and does even more damage. Don't recast this early. Wall is here to proc off balance. You can cast this early for the little bit of AoE extra damage that you get when the wall expires. Blazing Spear, strong AoE dot. Another reason we have this on the bar is for the crit damage. Barbed Trap, this is here for the Fighter's Guild passives and also applies hemorrhaging pretty frequently. And Ritual Retribution, a really strong dot. Don't recast this early because the damage ramps up. And Shooting Stars are ultimate, really strong single target damage. So for the rotation, it's super simple. Just hold down the heavy attack button and then input skills as they fall off. The priority that I used was Purifying Light, Ritual Retribution, Barbed Trap, Wall, and Blazing Spear. And then whenever my ultimate was ready, I just casted it whenever. In some situations, it can be more beneficial to add 2 skills per heavy attack, but in most situations, just casting 1 skill after a heavy attack should be okay. So for closing thoughts, if you need a flex spot, either Barbed Trap or Purifying Light could be substituted out for whatever you may need in a certain situation. And just very quickly, some alternative gear sets. You have the 2 Undaunted sets, which are Unweaver and Infiltrator. They're both pretty good for a heavy attack build, but the issue is that Stormmaster and Sergeant's Mail bonus is just too high to ignore. Infallible Mage or Infallible Aether, this is actually a really interesting set. The issue with this set is the heavy attack bonus is only 900, which is the lowest of all of the heavy attack sets. And Noble Duelist is probably one of the best light armor heavy attack sets. It has a good 2 to 4 piece bonus, and the 5 piece bonus is actually really strong. The issue is you have to be pretty close. It says melee range, but it's not exactly melee range. There is a little bit more range than that, but if you can overcome that issue, it can be a really strong option. And lastly, Night Slayer is actually not a bad option, especially if you're just starting out and you haven't farmed the necessary gear sets such as Stormmaster or Sergeant's Mail. That wraps up the build explanation section of this portion. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, or better yet, come join our Discord. Link is in the description. I will have a written guide attached in the description for those who would prefer that. And as always, thank you to my YouTube members. If you want to help me support my content creation, please consider becoming a member. And as always, thanks again, and see you in the next one.